little ventures. If suddenly, just to make company policy for you, if tomorrow Sight Online announced that it was starting a blog network in Germany and it had 100 positions, not jobs, but positions that it would promote across the areas that Sight covers in new ways to make Sight deeper. Right? And that you were going to promote the best, you were going to train them, and you were going to share ad revenue with them. How many of you would apply for one of those spots? Right. There's an opportunity. Right? And so there's an opportunity to create something there that when and if the down does start coming, you have the basis of a new world where, by the way, because they're not paying you, they'll only give you a share of the ad revenue they sell. And so you only get paid on merit, if you do well. If the audience doesn't, you have no traffic, you don't get anything. And then replace it with somebody else. I'm making company policy like crazy. Right?
I'm afraid I have to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, you will. Yeah. I see folk are taking notes, or not already sending me an email telling me to have full prep. Right. So there becomes a structure there where you can expand the reach of Sight and Sight Online into new areas and new coverage at no cost, low cost, and no risk by thinking in a distributed way. And all of them can benefit by saying, good. I get to be associated with Sight. I respect Sight. I respect what it is. I can learn from them. And by the way, they're going to sell the ads because I can't. That's a pretty picture.
And would you expect all these people who will join us tomorrow that they also work as process journalists?
They already do. Right? That's how bloggers think.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus made a point that the blogosphere is working that way.
I think he's right.
For a long time.
Don't you?
Yes, I think basically the possibilities are taken, but there's also a lot of bloggers who because of their uprising, because of their values, still work as a publisher. So do you think it's already in the DNA of German bloggers to act that way?
What do you think? Do you think that how many of you think that you are already doing process journalism? Nobody? Oh, well, never mind. I'm full of crap. Okay. So, are you saying by this, you think this process journalism idea is a crock of, I was going to say a crock of shit up Deutsch, is ridiculous? No?
So, how do we make money of this? Besides sharing the ad revenues.
Well, I think that's the main thing. I think the ad revenue is the first, most important thing. And no matter what, I guess, media said about me, I do a lot of work in the specifics of business models. So please go to newsinnovation.com/models and you'll see the media. So what we found is hyperlocal bloggers in the U.S. today covering towns of 50,000 people who are bringing in $200,000 revenue. Real, sustainable. Not everyone, not a lot of them, but they're there. It's proven across the country. We think that if networks were created to sell ads not just across the metro area, but also 5 towns around, or interests like moms or sports, that they could, in our forecast, and of course all forecasts are bullshit, but fine. We projected in 3 years that blog could earn $350,000 and hire 3 full-time people to do content, and hire 1.5 to do sales, or pay for it through citizen sales, we think. And we still project a news organization in that market that would sell that advertising from top down. But what's new here is we have the ability to serve very small advertisers from the bottom up. Advertisers who never could afford newspapers before because they were too big and inefficient and expensive for them. Right? And so if you had a scalable means for 1,000 sites and 1,000 citizen sales companies to sell and serve these small companies, not just advertising space, but help them with Google, help them with whatever comes to Germany in the form of Yelp and Foursquare and so on. Then there's a new revenue model there. That's one answer, right? So I think that there's new revenue there. Second, Telegraph in London made a quarter of its profit a year ago from selling merchandise directly to its readers. Telegraph is the leading retailer of clothes hangers in the UK. Honest to God. My theory about this is because the Telegraph is the conservative Tory paper that its readers like to have their suits neatly pressed. I write for the Liberal Guardian and we just throw our jeans under the bed and don't care. They sell clothes hangers, wine, sport betting, travel, Panama hats, garden sheds, and this they don't like to share. They sell a lot of knee braces, which says something about the age of their audience, I think. So e-commerce, direct commerce, events. I think events are an ongoing big opportunity to have. Education. Some newspapers are starting to train the public and make money doing so. Not a lot, but they at least, get the fact. So I think we have to find multiple revenue streams, and in the modeling we did at CUNY, you'll see that the business analysts we had went through those streams and projected that I think 57% of the revenue for the new news organization in the future was advertising, and the rest was these other things.
Okay. Hold on. I would like to quote a blog post by you from 2005. And, back then you said...
You damn reporters do your research.
Well, actually, you gave me the link.
Oh, okay. Damn bloggers have this ego, you can't freak out. Yeah.
No, you didn't mail it to me, but you wrote it yourself. Okay. Burn the org chart. The second biggest issue in all this is control. Everybody wants to control every medium, but then nobody will have anything to control because outsiders are running away with the content and their business.
I was getting excited that they love that.
So is that still the point that you're trying to make?
Yeah.
That people are running away with the business if the big ones don't act?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where the opportunity is. And that's where I think in Germany, because blogging hasn't taken off in the past, and it isn't kind of already defined as a way in America, that's a huge opportunity here. I would find, if my students spoke German, I would say go to Germany, find a place or a topic that you can serve, you can disrupt the big old guys, and serve in new ways, efficiently and inexpensively. In deeper ways, like TechCrunch does a better job of covering technology companies than newspaper can. So yes, I think it's about losing control, and that's part of my concern about as I said yesterday, about the iPad and the app architecture of the web, is it's about publishers dreaming of a return to control. And walled gardens that I don't think will work, but I think that, I don't know if I said this yesterday or not, Richard Jingles, the head of Salon, said it's a fatal distraction, because they'll spend so much time and effort and money doing their cool iPad app for a very small audience when they should be doing new and open things, but that's another thing.
Last question before I open it up is, are there differences between the German and the English-speaking market? Because, I mean, of course, we only have a couple of countries where we can expand to, at least as long as we write in German. So the number of business models, is that limited because there's fewer people can make a living of new forms of process?
At some scale, yes. I mean, it's different first, even before we get to that, it's different first because I think that you have a vibrant national media markets that we don't have in the U.S. and never really had. It's too big for the train to deliver the paper. And only when satellites enabled printing plates to be transmitted could we get national papers. So what meant was when TV came along, it killed the second and third paper in town. We got really dull, one-size-fits-all, monopolistic papers in towns. And we don't have a robust national marketplace. You have a robust national marketplace in Germany. You also have, when I talk about hyper-local all this time, well, that's because we have a lot of local units of government that need to be watched. You have a much more federal system of government. And so that makes a difference, too, I think. There's obviously just different cultural attitudes. So those all make differences that I love to watch, but I don't know crap about. And so I don't give enough caveats to say that, of course, I'm American and I look at the world through American lenses, because we all do. Now, to the question of scale, which I think is a key question. At some level, yes. At some level, there's only so big you can get, and it can only support so many people. So could Germany support TechCrunch? At the scale that TechCrunch exists, no. There aren't as many companies, there aren't as many eyeballs, and so it wouldn't employ as many people. There aren't as many advertisers, there aren't as many events, that wouldn't employ as many people. It would be a smaller business. But I still think there's a lot of potential in a lot of those areas where you can absolutely efficiently pick your slice and do a slice. Can hyperlocal work here? I think it still can. But is it needed culturally by its people? Do people care about their town and their neighborhood as much? You tell me, I don't know. But I think that